Are you ready for phenomenal thought leadership from the most well-respected leaders in industry? Join us for stellar conversations and sound advice from trailblazers who have a passion for excellence. Learn best practices that will catapult the culture of your company into a new level of greatness. Welcome to Great Companies, Great Leaders. Your host is Christine Gannon. Welcome to another edition of Great Companies, Great Leaders. I'm your host, Christine Gannon, the CEO of Brightworks Consulting. And today we are so honored to have with us Howard Partridge, who is the CEO of howardpartridge.com, as well as Phenomenal Products. Welcome. So glad to have you today.
Pleasure to be here.
So a little bit about Howard, and then we're going to jump right in. He is an international business coach, #1 Amazon.com best-selling author, and favorite conference speaker. I can attest to that. Howard grew up on welfare, started his first business out of the trunk of his car, and transformed it into a multi-million-dollar turnkey enterprise. He's been coaching for the past 2 decades, helping small business owners revolutionize their businesses and have more freedom in their lives. He's endorsed by Dave Ramsey and John Maxwell. He has a new YouTube channel offering training and coaching for small business owners for phenomenal success. He's written 8 books, which you can find on Amazon. And Howard, we are so excited to have you. Where are you today?
I'm in my favorite place in the whole world, Destin, Florida, sitting in my dream home next to my favorite beach, which is 3.5 miles of unspoiled State Park Beach.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I know you hold retreats and workshops and all kinds of things for your inner circle members there, true?
Absolutely. So we have a membership of small business owners and their families, and we do 4 conferences a year for our members. And one of them is we call it the Destin Dream Retreat. And we all come down here to the beach and build sandcastles together, do vision boards and reset and plan. And it's just a wonderful community time for the whole family.
That is awesome. I can't think of a better place to do that than at the beach.
I know. It's so much fun. Everybody loves it so much.
So your books, your webinars, your workshops, everything you've experienced and that you teach about began early in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to success? Where did you start?
You bet. So as you mentioned, I grew up, and I call it LA, Lower Alabama. And I grew up on welfare, and there were 7 kids crammed in a little 600 square foot shack. And we were on welfare. My mother fed us on $100 a month from the welfare department. And, so I ended up being a rebellious teenager. I was 17 years old, almost 18. And I got in a fight with my stepdad, got kicked out of the house, climbed on a Greyhound bus, went to Houston, Texas to live with my real father, who I'd only met twice in my whole life. He left when I was a year old. And I had 25 cents in my pocket. I became a waiter, and I worked in these really high-end restaurants in Houston. And then I always wanted to have my own business. I just made enough money really to pay the rent. And then I met my wife, Denise Conjette Antoinette Pinella. Now that's Italian. She's from New Jersey. I'm from where? Lower Alabama. Okay, this is going to be a good match. And there was a friend of the family, same age as me, 23 at the time, tooling around a little red Mercedes convertible. And that got my attention. I said, I want to know what that guy does. I want to know if it's legal. I do have my limits. And turns out that he was a business owner. And so I got back to Houston after our honeymoon, and I started my first business out of the trunk of my car with $3,000 in wedding money. And for the next 13 years, I was the typical business owner. I worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just trying to, get my arms around it. I felt like a slave to that business. And then in 1997, I learned about systems, that you got to have systems in your business. And then I learned about leadership, and I ended up building a wonderful company that I still own today, a service company in the Houston area. And so I transformed that business through what I teach today. into a multi-million-dollar business that's turnkey. I have a wonderful team there, wonderful systems in place, and I don't even have to be there. I mean, I'm down here on the beach. I don't have to worry about that company at all. I mean, at all. I have no job in my own company, but I make a lot of money. But it was a journey getting there. I mean, we got into a lot of debt. I wasn't a very good leader. We had to figure out how to hire people and how to get them to do what they're supposed to do. And that's what I teach people how to do today. And since then, for the last 23 years, we've been helping small business owners and their teams all around the world achieve a greater level of performance and to get those systems worked out in their business. And I've had some great experiences along the way. I've been mentored by John Maxwell, Michael Gerber, Zig Ziglar, my favorite. And today I help Tom Ziglar run the Ziglar Corporation. As you mentioned, I've written 8 books. I've got 3 more that I'm working on right now. And I'm debt free. I just literally live a dream life because I decided to take my business and business training and leadership seriously. And I just decided I'm going to find out the best way that it can be done. And I learned that from Gary Keller, who has Keller Williams Realty, that don't do the best that you can, but do it the best way that it can be done. So if you have good systems, you have the right people, and you learn leadership, if you have those 3 things, you can really make an impact and not just have a great business for yourself, but have a big impact in the world. So becoming a better leader, you're going to attract the best people. I have a conference coming up, How to Build a Phenomenal Dream Team. That's one of the things that you asked me about. And I'm writing a book on that right now. How do you find the right people? How do you attract them? How do you lead them? How do you sustain them? How do you develop them? And we've just been so blessed to do that. I've got 40 wonderful team members that love their work, and their whole job is to, to make a difference in the lives of our members and our clients, but also that, hey, Howard doesn't have to worry about anything. Howard can write and speak and teach and do things like this. He doesn't have to be overburdened with managing the company. So it's truly a phenomenal life.
Love your story. I know it's inspiring people as much as it inspires me. I want to talk a little bit about a couple things you mentioned. Leadership. Why do you think teams follow leaders? What is it in a leader that makes a team want to follow? You talked about having 40 team members. They all are loving what they're doing and making a contribution. What is it?
Well, this book that's right behind me, The Power of Community. Sorry, I'm backwards here. That one right there. That book, The Power of Community, the subtitle of it is How Phenomenal Leaders Inspire Their Teams Wow Their Customers and Make Bigger Profits. And what I discovered, really by accident, I discovered that every human being has a longing for belonging. They really want to, and everybody doesn't agree with this, but I believe that every human being on planet Earth really wants their life to matter, and they want to make a difference. And the reason that they don't do what you want them to do, the reason that people don't perform, the reason that they do bad things or whatever is because they have a poor self-image. I learned that from Zig Ziglar, and they want to belong to something. When you give them a great story to live in, when you create an environment of support and encouragement and accountability, and you're doing something that's meaningful, they want to be involved in that. So it's really a matter of creating an environment. Simon Sinek said that a leader's responsibility is to create an environment that inspires people to implement.
I was thinking about what you were saying. Did I matter? And I couldn't agree with you more. Brendan Burchard, as you know, he shares a story about early on in his career, he had a terrible accident, and he remembers thinking, did I matter? So I agree with you. I think that's significant for all of us in terms of Did I matter? Did I contribute? Did I contribute? And wanting that belonging. You
Right.
talked a little bit about environment, and I want to talk a little bit about the environment that we're in right now, coming out of COVID, hopefully.
Yeah.
Leaders have had quite the challenge with their teams, and their teams have had to do some really amazing efforts to keep businesses going for those that could stay in business. They've had to work very long hours, juggle family and children at home doing school and so many other things. So I'm wondering, what recommendations do you have for leaders as they think about recognizing the contribution that their teams have been making? How can they keep them inspired coming out of COVID? What are some things you would recommend that they do?
Right. So I think you just said it as recognition, appreciation. I think that that's always a part of the process. There's lots of definitions of leadership out there. Mine is that leadership is effectively communicating your vision. So you have to have a vision. What's the dream? Another quote that I love is that if you have a dream but no team, you have to give up the dream or build up the team, right? If you have a phenomenal dream, but you don't have a phenomenal team, then you're going to have to either settle for less or build up that team. And so my definition is leadership is effectively communicating the vision. And so first we have to develop a compelling vision, a compelling game that people want to be a part of. Nobody wants to just go to work and just do work. Why does it matter? So have an important mission, have good values. Everybody, believe it or not, every human being wants to be a better person. You may not see that, they may cover that up, but deep down inside, they want to be a better person. And so giving them values that they can aspire to, and then purpose, why do we do what we do? Why does it matter? Why does creating an invoice or doing manual labor or whatever it is that your team members do, why does that matter? And being able to communicate the difference that it makes in people's life, the work that you do, and just play a bigger, more meaningful game. And that's where the glue is that if I am doing work, even if it's data entry or something mundane, if I know that I'm making a difference in someone else's life,
Right.
then there's meaning there. The other thing is creating the right environment for people to work in, where they feel supported, they feel encouraged, and they're accountable. Again, believe it or not, people want to be accountable. And the kind of accountability, and there's three keys. The reason I call my book in this training, The Power of Community, is because of the other book that's sitting right next to it. Is the number one reason people don't reach their biggest dreams and goals is something I call FTI, failure to implement. And the most sure environment to cause people to implement is this feeling of belonging, this sense of community, that I matter, the group matters, the work that we do matters. It's meaningful. And when you feel like you're part of a movement, you're part of, and I know this is a stretch for some people, so let me tone it down just a little bit and say that when your work matters, when you can communicate the difference that it makes in people's lives, and you get the right people, now you've got a winning combination. I'll give you a quick story about this. My right-hand man, his name is Santiago. Santiago started with me when he was 17 years old. He was a Colombian refugee, and he grew up in my service company. He's been with me for 21 years now. He just turned 38 the other day. And he is a master coach. He's a master trainer. He's my right-hand man at Phenomenal Products. But there was a time when we didn't have this leadership figured out. I had two partners and we had a lot of management problems. I was missing in action, and he was going to college to be an electrical engineer. And when I started Phenomenal Products and we got our leadership stuff fixed and I started teaching my systems to other business owners, he was just moving boxes and hanging around our seminars, and he saw the difference that our work was making in small business owners' lives, that, you know, marriages were being saved, that people were getting out of debt, and people were actually happy to go to work again, and their teams were growing. He saw that happening, and he's like, forget becoming an electrical engineer. This is what I want to do, because I want to make a difference. And every single person on my team at Phenomenal Products is thinks that way, that they want to make a difference in the lives of others. And I have, you know, a lot of volunteers too. I have 40 team members, but I have dozens and dozens of volunteers, people that just help us because they see the difference that it's making in people's lives. And I have to say that, you know, I got all of this from other people. You know, I got this from God, my wife, and Zig Ziglar. I mean, you know, it's like I learned all this from other people, and I just put it in a different flavor, if you will. And I have the passion to help people, and I love to write, I love to teach, I love to help people, and I just love the whole world of success, you know, and reaching goals and being all that you can. So again, understanding that the three keys to creating this sense of community is support, encouragement, and accountability. And when you truly care about people, you value them, you show that you care about them, and you support, encourage, and help them be accountable to their goals. And that's another key, is to help them reach their goals and dreams. Then they'll help you. It's as simple as that. It's not easy, but it's simple.
So wow, there was $700 million nuggets in there, hoping everyone picked up
About
on
700 million hours of training.
amazing nuggets. A question I was thinking about when you were talking, you've coached so many business owners. What do you see them struggling with the most? Probably a lot. What do you think is the number one thing business owners struggle with most?
The number one reason small business owners don't grow, the number one reason that leaders aren't successful, the number one reason that anybody doesn't reach their biggest dreams and goals is what I call FTI, failure to implement. And let me ask your audience this question. If you just did the things that you already know that you should do, would you be more successful? You would be more productive, you'd have more output. And that goes for your team too. So the question becomes, why do we fail to implement those things? And why do we fail to even, you know, learn and implement new things that would help us go to the next level? And the truth is that there is a level of a lack of belief. There's a level of fear. There's a level of, does it really matter? Is the juice worth the squeeze? There's a belief issue. Zig Ziglar said that the secret ingredient of success is desire. And desire comes from a vision. We don't have a compelling vision. We don't, and the reason is because we don't believe that it's possible. I mean, there are many, many business owners that believe right now, people that are listening to your podcast today, that don't believe that they could build a team that would run their business for them. They don't believe that someone could do as good a job as them in some of the areas that they're trying to handle. And the fact is that you're trying to handle people as a business owner. You're trying to handle things that you're not cut out to handle, like accounting. You know, I love numbers today, but that wasn't always the case. I got my company in a lot of debt, and I had to bring in a consultant to fix it. Today, I understand that the numbers tell the story, and I love to see the numbers. I love to run those reports. But I'm not the one who's going to sit there and budget and look at insurance contracts and all that kind of stuff. You got to get somebody, you got to stay in your strength zone. So how do you increase your performance? And the way that you do that is start operating by different principles. And so your belief system, whether you're aware of them or not, and most of the time they're hidden. They're limiting belief systems. They're hidden. They're under the surface, right? And those, what you really believe, determine the principles that you live by and the philosophy that you live by. And so I developed what I call the 10 principles of phenomenal performance that are in this book right here, FTI. And one of them is the people principle, and having the right people around you, not just your team, but I can't really lead a team unless somebody teaches me how to lead. So we all need mentors. We all need a coach. We all need someone. In fact, the greatest life lesson that I've ever learned is get around people who are already where you want to be, in whatever discipline it is.
Right.
If it's health, get around. Oh, and not just where you want to be, but they also have a plan to help you get to where you want to go. Because I could be really successful, but I'm like, well, I don't know really how it happened. I didn't pay attention to the process that I went through. So get around people who are already where you want to be. They already have done what you want to do. They have what you want to have, and that have a program or a process or a system that you can follow and follow those same steps. And really, that's what we do. Is we just surround ourselves with some of the top trainers in the world and learn the best way to do things. And then we pass that information on to our members and help them learn those processes. I learned it all from other people. Do I have a few original thoughts? A million every day. But, they didn't come, I mean, listen, you're talking about a guy who barely got out of high school, but yet I spoke at Cambridge University. I did a TEDx at Texas A&M University, and so it doesn't matter, as Zig Ziglar always liked to say, is you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. So you find those people that are where you want to be and that have a system for you to follow, and take that system and follow that system. Simple as that.
People listening to you could follow your system. So if I'm sitting out here listening to this podcast and I'm saying, I don't know where to start, how do I find these people? They can come to your website, engage in your workshops and your webinars, buy your books. Am I right in saying that? I mean, this could be a system that people can follow.
Yeah, and we've tried to make it very easy. I have another book called The 5 Secrets of a Phenomenal Business, actually right here. So these 3 books together. So this one is the business systems that we need, and leadership, marketing, sales, operations. Remember, you need 3 things. You need leadership, you need people, and you need systems. And the reason that we need systems is so that we don't have to recreate it. So the small business systems that I've used are in this book, and then we have to implement. And that's why I have this book, FTI. So what we do here is you opt in at howardpartridge.com, you get my books, you get on a webinar, and then you decide that, do you want to go deeper with us? Do you want to study with us? Do you want to get coaching from us? And we have a 1-year training/coaching program called the Howard Partridge Inner Circle, where once you go through that process, you will have a different business and a different life a year from now. If you participate and you apply these principles, you can have phenomenal success. And we have so many people who have been with us and have just totally transformed their business, transformed their life. And it's really why I do what I do every day, is just the amazing success stories that I get to be a part of every day. It's great that I get to be debt-free, live at the beach, houses, cars, and
sure.
All of business and all of life is about relationships.
Yeah.
And the blessings that I've gotten from just having my name in their testimony, as Jim Rohn said, and helping other people be successful is what a phenomenal life is really all about. And I'm just so proud of our business owner clients, our members who have done so well. And just to see their kids growing up and getting a hold of this. I'm writing a book for young people. right now. And they're coming to our retreats and, getting a hold of this, the Ziglar philosophy and the phenomenal philosophy and all of that. It's just so exciting.
So needed. So
Yeah,
needed.
so needed.
You're so needed. So I'm so grateful that you're doing that. And I was thinking, Jim Rohn also said, you're blessed to be a blessing. And that really is a large part of what you're doing, and what business owners that are in business with a passion really see as their purpose. I'm blessed with so much to be a blessing. And I encourage people that are listening to go to your website for all that you shared, but also the success stories. The success stories on your site tell an amazing story in themselves, and how you've helped people and how their lives have changed completely because of going through the process.
Yeah, I'm so blessed. Yeah, it's amazing.
So as we wrap up today, what are you reading? What's on your nightstand?
Oh, goodness. You know what I'm reading? This is so unusual because for all of my career, I've read business books, and currently I'm reading a book that is literally that thick.
Wow.
Called The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh my goodness. It's on my bucket list. Okay, good.
Yeah. And one of my clients is like, you could just watch the movie. And I was like, yeah, I've watched the movie about 4 times. I don't know why. It's just like, it's springtime. I'm at the beach. And but I have a lot of books on my get to list. I probably have 200 books that that are in my queue. And in our leadership program, we go through a leadership book pretty much every quarter. And so I have one of Patrick Lencioni's books right over there called The Truth About Employee Engagement that I'm reading right now. And anyway, we could spend a whole hour just on books.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how can people find you, Howard?
HowardPartridge.com, HowardPartridge.com. Just go there, put your name and email in. You're going to be invited to a free training. And then, of course, you can go on Amazon and get all my books on Amazon as well. So,
okay, when you publish those 3 books, I'm hoping you'll come back and share a little bit more about what's in those books. So thank you for being with us today. Thank you to our audience. And we look forward to you jumping on Howard's website and checking out all the products and services, as well as his books. I can attest, his books are amazing. I have your books and love, love, love them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brightworks Consulting hosts this podcast and YouTube channel to spotlight the leadership around the world that is changing lives. Brightworks offers a myriad of consulting services in the public and private sector, to include diversity, equity, and inclusion solutions for any size company. You can find us at www.brightworksconsulting.com. We're honored to have Best Companies AZ as a presenting sponsor for this podcast. Best Companies AZ is your #1 source for regional employer branding. You can find them at www.bestcompaniesaz.com.